Ladies and gentlemen, from the Microsoft Theater here in downtown Los Angeles, brought to you by Shawn Porter Promotions.
So we're gonna be statues again. We're going back to that. We're literally live. We really need to let the people know.
More than ever.
Yeah. More literally than ever.
Can you hit us with the we live, baby?
Oh yeah, you gotta hit that.
Yeah.
Oh, we live, baby.
There you go.
Didn't have as much energy.
Yeah. I put him on the spot.
Didn't have as much energy.
That was.
We'll get to it. We'll get them fired up.
Let's do it. Welcome to the Put Away Podcast. Yeah, I gotta change the energy.
Man.
Hit
the table and everything.
Gotta bring it back. Showtime, Sean P. We got Sean Zeitel, Anthony Bernard, Carson A. Merck. We here. We live, baby.
Yeah, we live. We live. we coming strong today.
So let's address it right quick. I said, man, Meta Senderford, our test is coming to the studio. He'll be the first official guest we have here. I said, man, we got to go live with him. Not that he would have a problem with that. No, none of us do. But at the same time, I knew that some things really wouldn't work. Our producer knows better than anybody. When you're dealing with athletes, stuff like this happens more often than not. So one athlete says, yo, come on. The other athlete says, yeah, I'm there. And the other athlete says, what time you touch down? I'll be there at 2 and so on and so forth. But Mr. Artest has a prior engagement. As we all know, he'll be doing his basketball stuff. Yeah. We're going to go check him out when we're done here. So we wanted y'all to come on and interact with us. We also wanted you to interact with Meta. He's a big boxing fan, if you don't know. But we weren't able to make that happen. This won't be the last. But like I said to you guys in the previous post that I did, we are going to have him on later after his events and all that kind of stuff today. And we will post that at a later time. And of course, we'll let y'all know. But with that being said, the show must go on, as I like to say. So here we are. We are live, baby. And let's get into the box.
As you like to say?
Yeah.
Show goes on.
No, that's me.
I like to say, hey, it's both of them.
That's my thing. Yeah. No, it's my thing.
I don't think it's either.
Well, I like to say the show must go on.
No, it's my thing.
I think that's been around since
the
Stone Age.
Okay, but the show must go on is my thing.
Okay.
And then
your thing is yeah.
And soccer jerseys.
My thing is
yeah. You probably said that about 200 times last episode. Yeah. It's also a secret among us. No, I ain't gonna give it away. Gus fans gonna be.
I was a little out of the loop last time we recorded.
What was the other quote you gave Zeitel and I when we did the Olympic episode? Adversity makes champions?
Yeah, adversity makes champions. Yeah.
Just full of them.
I keep trying to, that one I keep trying to play with. I haven't really figured it out, but I that's where I'm stuck at right now is adversity makes champions. So
I feel like we see this sentiment over and over again on social media now. Just memes about like Michael Jordan had a flu and it's just. Anyway, very
champion.
It's
I don't want to fast forward to it, but if you want to kind of apply that to last night, Casimero faced
Casimero.
Excuse me.
I'm down to talk about Casimero.
Faced a lot of adversity last night in trying to maintain being the champion against Rigondeaux.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go first about that.
Uh-oh.
So I saw a lot of people who said if you were critical of Rigondeaux last night, you don't understand maybe the finer points of boxing, or you have to understand this is how he fights, this is what makes him effective. And I just felt like for people to go after people who were critical of his performance and how he fought and the style in which he fought last night is wrong. It was easy to be critical of him because for someone to try and pretend he was some Floyd Mayweather or Pernell Whitaker or Bernard Hopkins or a prime Guillermo Rigondeaux, last night is just a distortion. It's a delusion of trying to turn what he did last night into some beautiful, sweet science or pure boxing. That's not what it was. It was a guy, who was doing a track meet. And I think part of why people were so staunch to defend Rigondeaux last night is during, for example, the Floyd Mayweather years, when Floyd would do something masterful like school Canelo Alvarez with a beautiful, pure boxing display, some of the casual fans who'd order those pay-per-views would, he's boring, he's running, say a lot of ignorant things because they don't really understand the sport. And that made a lot of people start to really get staunch in defending brilliant boxing, right? And I think that's some of that same sentiment is what's trying to defend Guillermo Rigondeaux so much, and for how he fought last night. But again, he wasn't Pernell Whitaker or Floyd Mayweather or Bernard Hopkins last night. He was he's a caricature of himself. He was a 41-year-old man who just wasn't that effective, just wasn't the fighter he once was. If you want to see Guillermo Rigondeaux be a brilliant boxer, go back to 2013 when he schooled Nonito Donaire. And I was there in Radio City Music Hall that night. So, you know, you know, Carson was there with me last night, and he loves Rigo, and I was pulling for him to get the decision. And by the way, he did win that fight, because I'm not going to penalize him too much scoring-wise. And a big reason why the fight was so boring was because his left hand has power. So the other guy doesn't want to engage too, because Rigondeaux has power and he can punch. But last night, he wasn't doing some masterful boxing display. He didn't have if he's a great boxer, use your jab. Mm-hmm. You check to the body. You have a check hook. You show the full arsenal like Floyd Mayweather would do, like Andre Ward would do. And he didn't show any of that. He had a few rounds where the left hand worked nice in some spots, and it is a beautiful left hand. And it got the respect of Casimero. But yeah, basically, and I saw a tweet out there about, you know, you guys used to love Willie Pep. You guys, you know, glorified that famous story of Willie Pep. He won a round without throwing a punch, right? Mm-hmm. Well, go back and actually watch Willie Pep. He's a beautiful combination puncher, great jab. It's one round and one story and one fight 100 years ago that supposedly happened.
And is that confirmed by any means?
Right.
Like, no, is that myth at this point?
There's no tape.
Yeah.
So that doesn't set some standard to win 12-round fights now in championship title fights. Yeah. So
I'm so confused. Are you defending Rigondeaux, or are you?
I'm
for
my main point
off his chest.
I know, but
that's what he's doing.
I didn't know what he was getting off his chest.
My main point is, it's great to defend brilliant boxing, and then when someone who doesn't know the sport can't enjoy it, you defend that. And you tell them, hey man, look a little closer here.
Yeah. I was for you, and then I was like,
but last night wasn't.
I was like, yeah.
Last night wasn't that, and it's a distortion to turn it into that.
Let me. I think I can simplify it as well.
I'm rolling with it.
So you know,
take that picture.
Hey, why you think I started laughing?
So I'm as we watched the fight yesterday and currently the biggest Rigo fan here. But with what Zytel is saying is, don't try to equate that to like, oh, you're a casual fan, you don't understand boxing because you didn't appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Right. In fairness, was that like you said? Was it Floyd? Was it Pernell Whitaker? Absolutely not. Yeah. Not on any planet was it that. Yeah. But so I agree with what you're saying, that don't make it real boxing fans can appreciate that.
Right.
There are aspects of it, sure, but not on a kind of a general level.
I caught up.
Yeah, I got you. I
caught up.
I would agree with what you were saying in that aspect. It wasn't something where it's like, man, you know, you really don't understand the intricacies. My biggest issue is he won that fight.
Fair enough, right?
Because my issue is Casimero, whether he's running, however you want to break it down, if you can't cut off the ring for 12 rounds, how do you win the fight?
He could not come up. He couldn't find the equation.
Yeah.
And with that being said, how do you win when
and even if you kind of take that out of it, who landed the more meaningful shots yesterday?
I really do think it was Rigondeaux.
Yeah. So it's like, so not only could he not cut off the ring, he was not landing more meaningful punches than Rigo was. Yeah. So it's just like, I have a tough time giving you a decision, but into the fans that booed, you went to a Guillermo Rigondeaux fight. I have no clue what you were expecting.
Remember, we joked, what if they showed up, and you know, you should check your news in boxing, but what if they showed up, oh man, Donaire, Casimero, and they're like, oh wait, wait, what happened? Right. Who's that don't look like Donaire.
It was weird last night because there were other fights on, clearly, but something I could not
hold you back, man.
It was weird for me. Because what was the other fight on ESPN?
Maloney and Franco were going to war.
They're going to war, but how am I more interested in that Rigondeaux fight? There was something was weird for me.
That's the Rigolution, man.
Is that what that is?
Because also that Franco Maloney fight was, and Franco wins, but it wasn't like, I'm trying to think how to describe it. There wasn't much between them. It was like they were having these exchanges, and it was hard to kind of discern who was like really winning the exchanges, and there's no distance. There wasn't like, obviously there's tactics in any fight, but it wasn't like a tactical chess match. They were just kind of exchanging.
Last night was weird.
I think
like the whole day of boxing was
a lot of boxing.
I think you just wanted to see it through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what it was? Is that movie that I just can't not finish? Then you get to the end, you're like,
is he gonna win a fight fighting like this?
Yeah.
A title fight is. I think that was part of it. We wanted to see what the judges.
Ant's got something on his chest.
I'm gonna let y'all go.
Go ahead,
y'all done?
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, we
Oh,
cool.
last one. It's just nice that Carson and me were there in real life. Because see, on Twitter, if people had our differing opinions and they tear into each other and they all that, but it's in
We
real
sat
life
right next to each other.
Yeah, in real life we sat next to each other enjoying the fight.
And then even just let me simplify how Rigondeaux does not win that fight. He does not win that fight because, like I told you guys last night, people understand the guy coming forward. They don't understand the guy moving and moving backwards. It's just like if it's a real street fight and you see one guy moving back and his hands are going out like this, and all this from the guy coming forward. Once the fight is broken and stopped, nobody landed the punch at all. But everybody's gonna talk about the guy who was initiating everything. And I thought that Casimero, I'm no longer impressed with him, even in the fight that he's in a all-out brawl, because it seems to me that's all you can do. You can't figure out another way to get a guy to fight you other than if he's going to stand right there in your face, and that's really not boxing either, So while I was, of course, impressed with Rigondeaux's movement and his defense, I mean, especially right now, it's bar none. Nobody does it the way that he can do it, especially not obviously at that division. But at the same time, plant that back foot and land a punch. Stop, plant the back foot and throw the jab. And it's like with as difficult as his movement is, it's like at the same time, it's like you don't do anything but move. And even for a guy like you say, you like Carson says, this is my type of fight. A guy who can move, stop, land a couple punches, keep moving. He's not doing that, but that's still my type of fight. I love that kind of fighting too.
Like my Mona Lisa is Lara and Canelo. Like that is that is my jam.
Yeah.
Like,
but Lara was firing one.
But that's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said.
And I thought Rigo could have, in those exchanges, like you said, pop the jab out, maybe go to the body once or twice.
And so even when you aren't doing that, and you're making a guy miss virtually everything. Yeah. As a judge, a judge can't really respect that because there's no offense coming from the other guy. And essentially that's what boxing is. Boxing basically is who's the best offensively and defensively. Yeah. And then obviously there's a separation there. Yeah. Who's so on and so forth.
Go ahead.
Hey, if anybody ever complained about my guy Floyd Mayweather again, watch that fight last night. That was the definition of some BS. All the stuff boxing going through. Hey, I'm dropping him. Somebody call PBC and drop this guy. That was nonsense. We need to see some boxing.
Would you hold his check?
Hell yeah, I hold his check.
As Shawn said after.
Yeah. Sean Gibbons that was embarrassing.
Hey, hell
Gibbons, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
No, I don't mess with people's money. I ain't gonna hold his check. I thought about it. No.
Took some shots.
Yeah, because you hold my check, you're gonna catch a left hand.
Yeah.
But I just felt like he has to throw a little bit more. I mean, I understand that's his style, but it's very boring for the casuals. Obviously, with boxing fans, we watched it like maybe he gonna do something else. Maybe he gonna turn it up.
Look, the last round, what'd he do? He banged his gloves together. He came to the center of the ring. It didn't move. He started the round.
After a round, he threw a punch.
Yeah, when he popped him.
I'm like, so.
Then he came out and threw a punch. Yeah, I said, ooh, we gonna get something this round.
No,
and he has that one hitter quitter too.
Yeah, the left hand is strong.
It'll be like Deontay Wilder just running around somebody all night. But I was definitely disappointed in it.
We just saw a highlight of him hitting Casimero in the throat.
There's no way that feels good.
Yeah. How hard is that though? Like to hit somebody in the throat.
That's
like
where your voice changes.
All of those intangibles. I would imagine, obviously being 41, it's not the same.
50.
He's 40. Take it easy.
At 40, it's not the same-ish. 40-ish.
Yeah.
It's not the same. But for him to be able to do what he did in terms of his defense, I'm sure there's got to be something there offensively. And he
you want to see him again? I don't want to see him no more.
Let me ask you
I don't want to see him no more.
Let me ask you this, Ant.
Matter of fact, I'm not watching none of his fights.
Let me ask you this. So
I ain't mad at you.
Are you mad at Casimero though?
Oh, Casimero should have cut off the ring.
Because I'm like,
cut off the ring.
Are you mad at him?
Yeah, because I'm like,
I'm
mad at him. No. I'm
fought
mad
for
at both
12
of them.
rounds and couldn't catch him.
Yeah,
and it's not. This isn't a game of capture the flag.
You
There's
gotta
ropes
cut off the
and
ring.
there's ends of the ring.
It was Styles makes fight. That was a horrible fight.
Yeah,
I'm mad at Casimero.
I'm extremely mad at
Yeah, because I think someone like Inoue would have figured it out.
And that's what somebody.
Loma figured it out, but
Yeah.
but that's Loma.
Yeah, and
he
a
was
lot of
bigger.
people were saying they're like, I would still like to see him in there with, in a way, I would like to see him against Donaire again. Like,
I'm done with this guy.
It would be interesting to see how Inoue deals with the movement. And, yeah.
My issue is, I'm mad at Casimero because your horrible offensive performance and ring generalship makes the criticism of Rigondeaux even louder.
Worse. Yeah.
Because then they're like, well, this guy couldn't even punch him. It's like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
He couldn't punch him, so how is it his fault? But and Sean Gibbons, to address that briefly, when they're trying to conduct a post-fight interview and you say something like, that's the worst display you've ever seen, they should withhold his purse. A judge, they had him winning the fight. The fans voted that
He was in the moment, Carson.
Yeah.
Sean always says don't interview.
Yeah, but then in the fan, they did a poll and the fan said Rigondeaux won the fight.
The cult of Rigo took over.
Yeah, and so I'm like, and then Jim Gray, I have criticisms of him in the past for certain things, but with that, where he was just like, wait, is that him saying that or is that you saying that? And he was like, yeah, I just think. I was like, okay, so it was clearly you.
Yeah,
but,
that was classic when he said,
he's like,
all
wait,
right.
is that, are you translating that or is that? But
I just think we can't afford fights like right now. We're losing too many fights. We can't afford a boring fest like we had last night.
I think we expected that from Rigondeaux.
And it definitely less.
Didn't expect that from Casimero to have that.
The
type
first
of
couple
confrontation.
rounds, we got action.
Yeah.
Then it was like, hell no, you clip me, you won't catch me the rest of the night, brother.
And
I mean,
you know
it's
what's
too
funny?
bad.
Think of the first round when Rigo goes down, when he gets hit in the back of the head, and then Casimero, first off, is able to throw like 5
Because of
punches
the
on
ref.
ground.
Right.
What you
But
doing?
think about that in the first round.
He was like, dang, did I leave the bread in the oven?
But then the rest of the fight, so you have that in the first round. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe. And then it was like, nope. That was
Yeah.
it. That was
That,
it.
last night was 100% the B flick movie you rent, and it's like, well, I spent money on it. I
gotta watch
gotta
it out.
finish it now.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yeah,
So,
it's like Sean invited me to
No
watch
disrespect.
watch his kids play sports, and his kids is trash.
Don't say
I'm never
that.
coming again.
no, it can never
You
happen.
the only one? Oh, my bad.
Boys,
Hey,
athlete.
Hey, talk about both of y'all. I just talk about
Well, was
I
gonna
don't
say,
know about Leo, but my boys is
the
athletes.
best
I
is-
don't-
I mean, it's G's be all right. It's not yours,
I can't
but
speak for Leo.
The best is you offended the kids and you offended Rigondeaux. I was like, wait a second.
did Leo
You
just get
offended all
this
three of
on the
them.
court away?
But yeah, it was what it was. I think that's kind of the undercard. Rau'shee Warren.
Ooh.
Big
Oh,
stop.
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
fight of the night.
And he, maybe.
Overall,
It was quick.
fight of the night. Well, yeah, it was quick.
It was
but-
quick.
Nah.
I think,
Ortiz.
I think Ortiz. But
Oh,
the,
yeah. You,
Come on, man. You
Well,
tripping.
well, let me back up. Let me back up.
anytime you can.
I was hyped. That's since he was in the ring.
Yeah.
And I saw some sparks last night that I hadn't seen from Rau'shee in a
Dang, Rasheed's
minute.
that old?
Yeah.
Dang, I
What do you
thought
go?
he
What
was
is
in
it?
his 20s.
4 Olympics?
3.
4. Yeah.
He went to 4
2004.
Olympics.
No, it was 3.
Oh, yeah,
2004,
04.
2008, 2012.
Yeah.
But he, anytime you can hit somebody and make them do an involuntary dance.
Stanky leg.
Yeah, he leaned back, he leaned forward, he leaned back again, and then fell forward. But
I told y'all last night. I said, and I speak to Rau'shee. If you watch and listen, or if you catch it, every fight for Rau'shee was supposed to be last night.
Right.
He was that sharp in 04. He was that sharp in 08 and 2012. He's always been that type of fighter, and I don't know really what the disconnect was. Obviously, he had some fights like that, but the big fights that he had, they were supposed to be like it was last night, and it wasn't. And with that being said, man, if we get more action like that from Rau'shee, we looking at a rebirth right there.
yeah, and didn't just drop him once. Also dropped him in the first round. Like he really did great. And he's somebody that's known for speed, not power.
Right.
Like,
So here's the quick thing about Rau'shee.
Yeah.
04, we had the computer scoring. 08, we had the computer scoring. And back then, we did 4 2-minute rounds. And within that 4 2-minute rounds, if you score 20 points, it's automatically stopped.
pass the sticks.
Yeah. After the third round, fourth round, if it's more than 20, they let it keep going, and then obviously it's up to the corner. He was stopping guys in 2 rounds. How do you get to 20 points?
Right.
And the other dude got like 1. Yeah. How you get to 21? The other dude got 1 point.
Let me get started.
In 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And so what I saw, that's what I'm talking about. When I seen the Thunder come out last night in him and 2 rounds. I'm like, that's the Rau'shee,
Jumping
the
on
nuke that I've been knowing forever. And it was, man, I was so hyped to see that last night.
You and lots of great American fighters that came through the amateurs the last 15 years, right? They all, like we talked to Duke Reagan, who won the silver medal. My favorite fighter all time is Rau'shee Warren, you know? So, yeah, he's had tremendous respect from all those great fighters from the Midwest. So, yeah, I think that's what everyone's been waiting on is how he looked last night. I think that guy would have been WBC champion against Ubali.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was you talk about a statement performance. Right out of the gate, you blitzed them.
Yeah.
So we had a super chat question. This is an interesting one, not boxing related. Okay. So Mr. Buddha 314 said,
Buddha,
who would y'all pick to save you? James Bond, Ethan Hunt or Mission Impossible, John Wick, while killing off the other 2 in the process?
John Wick was cold.
I gotta go with John Wick.
I'm a
The
huge James
boogeyman.
Bond fan, so I have a tough time. But I feel like in skill set, I feel like he was maybe a little bit limited.
Yeah.
I have not seen those movies, but
Oh.
I was named after Sean Connery, who was James Bond, so we're going to go with James Bond.
All right.
I think I'll just
The
go
Sean
with James
Connery
Bond
version.
out of just nostalgia. Those are the movies I prefer.
Y'all just put me in a movie. I'm like, Boogeyman, come get me.
Yeah.
I'm going with John Wick. You know, I'm a big Chuck Norris fan. We had an argument about that before.
No.
Yeah,
I've always been a Chuck Norris fan.
Yeah, but you ain't supposed to come on here and say that.
Chuck Norris could. I mean, he's not, but he doesn't have the firearm, so I feel like he's a little bit of a
Right.
disadvantage.
So I'm going to John Wick. Come save me, baby.
Chuck Norris is not need
I feel like you a Steven Seagal fan too.
Nah, he was like,
What about Ip Man? I'm a big Ip Man fan.
Oh, Ip Man. Oh yeah, 100%.
Ip Man.
Hey, y'all know how I don't really argue with people? 5th grade, almost slept this dude because he tried to tell me John Wayne could beat up Chuck Norris.
Yeah. John Wayne's going to sleep.
How old are you, Ant? Like, what?
Right.
Were they talking
He's
about
actually
John
100.
Wayne?
He's actually 75.
Hey, I'm from a small town, Louisiana, called Bunkie, Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
It's about 500 people. We argue about dumb stuff.
A little
like
behind
that.
the times.
Your city called Bucky?
I was.
Hey man, I knew I shouldn't have never gave you that. It's called Bunkie. B-U-N-K-I-E.
Bunkie.
Yeah.
Another day.
Yeah,
Another day.
I knew I should have
Another
never
day.
told. We've been friends for like 7 years. It's the first time I told him I started something.
Bunkie.
Answer it. No, answer it.
No, I'm going with John Wick.
John Wick.
I gotta get
John
Boogeyman.
Wick.
Come get
Yeah,
me.
that's a cold dude.
I dig that question too. Appreciate you, Buddha.
But so we can go back. The other cards we had, the ESPN card I think was maybe not underwhelming, but I think that was the one.
No, they had a great. I went back and caught Franco Maloney to get ready for the show. That was a hell of a fight, man.
Yeah, it was good. I think the first fight also was one where I don't know, their style
Nico Ali
doesn't really do it for me. I don't know why. But
like Nico Ali had his debut.
Yeah, gets a win.
Okay.
And put some hands on somebody.
Yeah.
We were watching on your phone, and the combinations came and.
Hey, beat up my boy that work at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Worst question I could have asked last night. What weight is this?
Hey,
Three
Sean
different
asked.
answers.
My dude,
It went from like welterweight
Hey,
to
put me on the do the single for me because I'm behind Ant and Ant's going off about Nico, so I hit the rewind. I want to see what's going on,
Hey.
you know. I said, yo, what weight is this? It's 147. So watch it back. Like, hold on, what's with the end? You ain't gotta be so come at me like that. It's your weight class, so yeah, watch
ready.
out. Yeah, be ready.
and then he was like, "Oh wait, never mind the middleweight."
Yeah. So it was a good night, man.
Hey, shout out to Nico, man. He had a great, what's that, the debut performance?
Yeah.
Yep.
Managed by Flavor Flav?
Yeah.
Something like that with
Well, it's
Flavor
his
Flav.
Godfather.
Public Enemy.
Oh, Godfather.
Yeah, it's Godfather.
So
People still do Godfathers?
Yeah, I'm somebody's guy.
Hey, the person might be watching this. They all asked me to be their Godfather, their kid's Godfather.
You can't do that.
I don't care. I turned it down.
I feel a little bad. I guess my big takeaway from ESPN is I feel bad for Maloney because he clearly was going to win the second fight.
he never got a chance to hold the title.
Doesn't get it, and then loses yesterday. So kind of a tough break there. But
Because once you win it, you keep it forever. You know, even when you lose the title, they send you your permanent title, and Maloney never gets to have that, even though he did deserve
there's
it.
belts
After
laying all around. This,
But hold on,
all
yeah, I was
around
gonna say,
Sean's house.
but before that, like your name going in the history books,
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about
I mean,
that.
I'd rather
Forget
hold-
the, like,
He skipped over all that.
He skipped over all that. Like, yo, you get the belt.
That's-
You get at all times. It's right there. It's always that reminder. Like, you get put in the books. You know what I mean? Like that's for me, it comes before the belt itself. You know what I mean?
So I'm hearing it from someone who actually went. Yeah.
That
I mean, people want to obviously people want to hold the belt. I mean, like it's something to hold the belt, but like after that, once you understand, like you get back to the room, you understand, like I've done it. You know, and it's like
speaking of people want to hold a belt, you know, I do a lot of stuff in the community for high school football kids. I take Shawn out to help talk to the kids. One day, Shawn was the champion at this time. Came out to talk to the kids. Fool showed up without the belt.
What about the other time I showed up with the belt and before I even started talking,
off his actual belt and held it up and was like,
"Hey!"
Before I start talking, dude, like, "Yo, can I hold the belt?" I'm like, "Hold on, can I talk first? You don't know who I am."
I was there for that one.
I said, "Yeah, let me tell you who I am."
The belt matters. It matters to everybody else.
Like, hey, you Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yeah.
A quick little question break here. DSV company. Shawn, what's one fight right after you thought that deserves a rematch besides Spence?
Oh Lord! Oh, for myself?
Yeah, I would assume so.
For myself would have been Kell Brook. I think right after that one. Keith, I was so stuck in the moment against Keith that I really didn't immediately consider a rematch. I think that was the question, right? Yeah. Immediately, yeah. Of course, with Kell, I lost the title. It didn't take me long. I think before I even got to the back room, I was like, I effed up. You know what I mean? So, and it's still like in the moment, I felt like I thought I should have won, but I knew everything that I had done wrong, like immediately. Yeah. Like my dad's telling me in the corner, but immediately after I didn't get my hand raised when it all kind of came in. Also funny to realize Ronnie Shields yesterday was begging Rigondeaux to throw more punches. Yeah. It was like, hey man, you really got to sit there. And he was like, hey, you got it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So I think Keith Thurman, that one came like much later. And then Errol Spence was like immediately after. Right after. Yeah, I mean that one was immediate. That fight, and this is ridiculous. This is how immediate it was after I was like, let's lace back up. Like in my mind, I know I can't do it. Like I kept telling myself too.
Shawn put his robe back on.
I swear to God, I kept telling myself like calm. I kept telling myself to calm down because I knew like in my frame of mind that I was in, like all my thoughts were unrealistic. Yeah. But I kept telling myself to calm down because you're not gonna get. You
showed up to the post fight like you wanted more smoke.
It was You
were like, so how was it?
Yeah. So, that was immediate.
That fight pissed me off because us as friends, you know, me, out of all your friends, me and him, we gonna keep it 100. So just some people saying like, I had somebody start a conversation before that fight was like, so how bad you think your boy so what you think, how you think that fight gonna turn out? I was like, I will put hands on you right now. You disrespect Shawn again. But I knew that was gonna be a war. Yeah. I think we all knew, but a lot of people was trying to BS it.
That was a good one. And then we can go one more question before we go to the DAZN card. But what do you guys think about a potential fight with Tank and Keith Thurman, which has kind of been rumored around? It's a little far-fetched, but
I actually think
what would your prediction be?
I actually think Keith will take that fight.
I think Tank might take that fight, to be honest.
I'm there for that fight.
Like, take the fight, like he'll fight Tank or he'll win the fight?
I think Keith will take that fight.
Like, or win the fight.
No. I mean, like,
he'd be
sign the fight.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Hey, so I'm willing to bet all our lives somebody get knocked out.
Huh?
That would actually be hilarious if it went the distance.
Did you say all of your, what?
All of our lives? Yeah.
No, don't do that.
All right.
He always tries to bet other people's stuff. Like there was a time where he said, "I bet my house. I bet Carson's house." I was like, "Whoa!"
Hey, we gotta lose it together, baby.
I gotta take y'all. So in answering that question, take you back to who was the gentleman that he fought? Really good fighter.
Josecito Lopez.
No,
you talking
Mario
about
Barrios.
Mario Barrios?
Yeah, excuse me for not remembering Mario Barrios' name. Did a fantastic job all the way, but to the end. Listen, he said in the post-fight interview that Mario was big.
Yeah.
And he said that he was concerned with that. So imagine him coming up to 147. Even more concerns, which means if you don't know, when you're concerned about something, we saw last night with Casimero, he stopped offensively because he was worried about some things coming from Rigondeaux. Mm-hmm. He couldn't figure out how to get to Rigondeaux and stop that left hand because he felt it.
Yeah.
The same thing when you get into the ring with somebody, if you're concerned with that, it stops you from using your offense.
Well, that's what Tank didn't do for the first several rounds against Barrios, right?
I mean, when y'all talking about making the fight with Keith Thurman and Tank Davis, you got to consider the fact that Tank's 130 coming up to 35, 140, and now 147. And I think he's actually going to make a move to 47. But it depends on who he's going against.
And Keith isn't a 147 coming from 140. He is a 147-pound fighter.
And a grown man.
Yeah.
Hey, and a dog.
Yeah.
Hey, my man was fighting through busted nose with Pacquiao.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It'll be a fun fight.
It looked like he was going to get stopped, and then he made a rally. Yeah.
His body quit
I know
on
what Keith will do. I pick Keith to win that.
Hey.
And I know what Keith will do.
Hey, Gervonta Davis, body shot.
Gets him out of there.
Body shot.
Oh, everybody said.
Body shot.
Everybody said that's all it takes.
I think I might have to favor Tank, too, just because Thurman's been out the ring 2 years, and last time he had to lay off that long, he went to hell with Josecito Lopez. You know, if he had gotten back in the ring sooner after Pacquiao and kept things going, because, you know, the Keith that fought you was a hell of a man. He was a hell of a fighter. And I didn't see the legs there against Pacquiao that were there when you fought him. That some of the athleticism with the legs, the hands were still fast.
It's a really fun matchup. Like when you think about that, that's a really
that was a hell of a fight.
Because that's guys that can throw bombs, Tank and Keith. But so last night, another guy, speaking of the welterweight division, Vergil Ortiz, gets the mean machine out of there.
Then first off, my man called the fight perfectly.
We need to give Ant credit because he was on the money with everything. Ant was like, I think he hurts him at some point.
I did wild out for a moment, though.
Well, you showed up clutch.
He went far. He went way too far.
All the way right.
Yeah. We were all in on it. Ant was, so just for anyone, so we're watching it, and Ant saying stuff, and we're like, I agree. And then he said something, we're all like,
hey, it's like when people agreeing with you, all right, let's see how far they'll go with
you pushed it. But
he goes, you know what? This kid ain't that good, actually. After Vergil Ortiz got hurt, and I said, okay, Ant.
And then I thought about it. I said, that was a dumb statement.
But he it was another test for him.
Great test.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel differently. I don't know if I learned anything about Vergil Ortiz other than that he can recover from being hurt,
which is so important to learn.
Yeah, but I guess like tactically and like skill wise, like he was about what I thought he was going into.
He didn't
fight.
show
Not
us
bad or worse.
He didn't. I didn't see a lot of improvement from last fight.
Great jab, and
hell of a jab.
Hell of a jab.
I don't really
jab
say that's
serious.
an improvement though. But
he has that. Yeah.
But he's a fantastic.
His
jab
is serious.
Defense.
I thought about y'all last night while I was watching. I'm like. Dang, I got to go on and say he got one of the best jabs in boxing.
Add him to the list.
You keep falling down that list.
Yeah.
And his hands are fast. When he puts the combinations together, they're fast. He is fast. He could punch with both hands. And the thing is, when he fights one day a Boots Ennis, because they're going to take over the division, you know, once you guys are done making big money finishing out the fights of this era. But when he fights a Ennis or a Terrence Crawford one day, you know, coming in with the hands up, they can dissect that their own way. You know, that's not the hardest thing to dissect stylistically. But he's never going to outbox those guys anyway. And the style, a lot of times, that beats those guys is putting the pressure on. But to put the pressure on, you got to have power. You got to have some speed. And you got to have a great jab to cut the distance, right? So he's developing all that. Maybe he's not that right now to beat Terrence Crawford or Ennis, but to me, he's trending in a great direction to give himself the best chance. He'll never beat those guys trying to be nuanced in box. He's always gonna be at his best, putting the pressure on and coming forward. And I love his development, man. Fast hands, power in both hands, and he showed the dog.
I think the thing with him, like Zytel mentioned, with cutting off the ring or even just putting pressure on him, his isn't going to be based on footwork. His is going to be based on the jab and the power. Because he's not going to, cut off angles. His footwork's just not that good.
I got to keep going back to Casimero because the difference with him and Vergil is the fact that Vergil will use his jab.
Shout out to Victor Ortiz back this weekend.
You got to use your jab. Your jab is it's a direct. It used as direction to point your guy where you want him to go. Mistake number one from Casimero, not using a jab. And then on top of that, the sense of urgency to get there. Casimero knew this was the whole night. You should know at some point, have a sense of urgency to get where he's going. That's how you cut off the ring. It's that easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Vergil would have a sense of urgency. If somebody's moving too much and he can't get to him, he's the type of fighter if I don't feel you, I need to feel you, and he's gonna go at the guy. So I think, like you said, to your point, he'll use a lot of punches, combinations to get to a guy and move his feet. May not be the best, but he'll do what he's got to do to get to somebody.
Yeah, I think against those guys though, I think that is like, I mean, whether it's Boots, whether it's Bud, whether it's you, whether it's Errol, I think the lateral movement would give him trouble.
Yeah, that's going to give him hell. Lateral movement and his defense.
Yeah.
If he tightens that up, which I think the movement is what it is, you can get better defense.
Yeah,
It's still you can still work.
I mean, there's fighters we've seen that just can walk people down, have the power, and
he's like, I'm just going to punch with you.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna stop
important.
him.
Yeah, for his style, that's so important. You know, because if you're waiting on a great boxer, you'd be waiting all night. Yeah. So
but it gets hurt, but then hurts Mean Machine more than a couple times.
I was gonna say at some point I bought into the fact that he's gonna have to punch with the Mean Machine and keep going, and in fact he did, and that's what got the done.
And the more he did it, the less Mean Machine wanted to do it with him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could not believe.
Hey, somebody call Coach Larry Wade.
I could not believe what I was seeing though. I'm not going to speak on what Coach Wade was, how he felt about it, but I could not believe we just talked about Vergil being the dog, like the lack of like, if we want to be nice, integrity. If we want to be nice, like, let's get, where's that grit and that like, bite in that fight?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
We've seen it twice now.
Some
with
people
the
don't got
machine.
it. Yeah. Some people, it's something I had to accept in life with playing sports. He just ain't got it.
Yeah, and they talked about that. They have the chicken talks on Twitter, and it's one of those things where it's like he's just not like a 12-round fighter. Yeah, like he just at some point, we always talk about levels. He's there, and you're like, okay, and then all of a sudden it's just like, and his just is still there.
Yeah.
So
do you think there's some fighters, Shawn, that once they when they're a big underdog? And they like Luke Campbell against Ryan Garcia, Pacquiao-Ugas last night, and they have that moment early in the fight. Are they already satisfied, or like, hey, I already did good I had my moment, and or is part of them they get kind of scared? Oh, I pissed them off. Now he's really gonna come.
That's kind of talk like in boxing. Coaches, because I've been around a lot of coaches that will literally say. They'll say something along the lines of, well, he's done his job. And it's like after that challenge, what comes after the challenge? And a lot of times the fighter has kind of bought into everything that's been said about him that he won't even like.
Kind of the George Costanza, leave on the high note. He hurts him and he's like, yeah, I'm good for the night.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing. Yeah. So I think it is. I think it's a thing.
And so a good question on Vergil. So Beto HDZ says, is it time for Vergil and Boots to fight now? How do you see it playing out? And could that be like a last stepping stone for those two, maybe before a title fight?
No, it's definitely not the last stepping stone for those two before a title fight. If you take a look at it, I was a champion before I fought Keith. Keith was a champion, obviously, when we fought. I think that's when they should fight. They should fight when they're both champions, and they both have really solidified themselves as number one and number two. They have not done that yet. Obviously, just some more work for them to do. Right now, I'll speak on later. Boots ain't gonna do nothing but get better.
Yeah,
and I really think that Boots is not just. I don't think there's a facade around Boots. I really do think that Boots is sold as is. Yeah. He is that good, I think.
I'm not even trying to describe it, but he is like, he's the guy. We talked about like movies like Matrix. Like I think he's the one.
Is he Neo?
He's Neo. I'm like, because we talk about these guys and there's so many great young fighters.
I want to be. I'm Lawrence Fishburne. Then boom, I'm taking it. I don't care who.
You're not Morpheus.
I'm Morpheus. I don't give a damn.
You're more like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
You corny. Hey, mute him.
Yeah, but I'm looking at it and I'm just like,
hey, what
there's so many great young fighters, and you'll talk about these guys, and I'm like, yeah, Boots is better than all of them. Yeah. Like anytime I think of a guy, I'm like, man, he's really good. I'm like,
damn.
I'm like, he's not better than Boots though.
And I think with not being Neo, but damn. Like,
and both of them are gonna continue.
You just describe this guy as Neo. Like, damn. Like
you're old now.
I know, but I'm saying
so let him be Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. I'm just saying
Fishburne was old.
Yeah,
right.
It's a little
Denzel.
Much. That's a bit much.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Not Training Day. Not Training Day.
But give my man one. Come on.
What's the movie he just did?
Which one? Lawrence Fishburne?
No.
He talking about Denzel. He wanted Denzel
I know what
character.
you're talking about. Equalizer.
Equalizer. Yeah.
That's not bad.
I'm the Equalizer.
That ain't bad. Look,
Yeah.
look,
You don't have the
came
power
back,
to
right?
equalize. But,
Hey, watch my hand.
so I saw. So how about we
I
talk
was about to send you in there.
Yeah, he was gonna be out of here.
Sitting on the couch a little
Well,
while longer.
I think we skipped one about
No,
that.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead, Carson.
So I think with the before we move to next week's fight, and then we always talk about who's next for these guys, like Vergil.
Hype now. I'm equalizing.
How about this for a fight? Let me
Got
flip.
hyped about him being Neo, but now I feel good about
Now
it.
you're stuck on it. So my guy Lefty, how about this for a fight? You know how you feel?
right.
Vergil Ortiz, Jesse Vargas.
Vergil Ortiz.
Is another nice step.
Great
Another
fight.
nice step for him.
Yeah.
And
fight.
he mentioned
I will say
California
this. I don't want
crowd.
to give away no secrets. I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, there'll be a good crowd.
Good fight.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good fight.
Yeah, California crowd would be into it, but so
Without saying too much, that's a good fight.
this coming weekend we were gonna have a mega fight. Now we still got a big fight. Obviously, Errol get well soon.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, get well soon. Yeah.
And I'll speak personally. You guys can
shout
co-sign
out to
that or
Errol,
not.
man.
I have no doubts about anything that Errol. I don't doubt his injury in the
we're
slightest.
not doing that.
I don't doubt
We're
anything.
not doing that here.
And I think he is somebody that. Oh, is Errol ducking Manny? I don't. If there's one guy in boxing that I don't think is ducking anybody,
We're not
it's
doing
Errol
that.
Spence
Yeah,
Jr.
we're not doing that.
But,
here.
so hopefully
Yeah.
get better soon. Hope he comes back 100%.
We let all them other podcasts do all
Yeah,
that. Nah,
yeah,
my
but-
man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he comes back 100%. But
And with that being said,
so
let me
we got,
stop.
now we got Ugas.
But let me just say
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
because I try to be fair to y'all. I try to like keep it as honest and as real as possible. And I think one thing I try to do is I could try to advocate for the fighters, and I try to get y'all to kind of understand what we go through, what to expect, so on and so forth. In this particular situation, do not speculate. Do not
Try to cut him down.
give this
Question.
man some justice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because he's been through a lot, and we're past that. Let's stop talking about the accident. However, when he has to pull out because of an eye situation, y'all got to understand that it could happen in training.
Yeah.
My dad told me the other day, not the other day, but he said to me some time ago. He says, if you think that something's not wrong, you need to continue to do everything that you've been doing so that it stays that way. Yeah. He said, because how many sparring sessions have you had since you were 8 years old? And he stopped me in my tracks, because when I really think about that, I can't be oblivious to the fact that something could be wrong. I'm doing the best I can to make sure everything stays the way that it is. But to that point, it could happen in training. It could happen with his kids. I'm playing with my kids.
It could happen in life.
I'm playing with my kids all the time. And I'm like, ooh, that could have been the time. Ooh, that could have been the time. Like, let me stop. Let me stop. Because
look, I'm not even a boxer, and I had to have hand surgery.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
And he's got
Nobody cares.
He has three young kids now. I know he's got a new baby.
So yeah, I'm just saying, like, don't speculate and don't start storytelling.
Try to chip away at Errol.
Wait, be patient.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's great.
Absolutely.
And he's a really good athlete. Yeah. He's not just a great boxer, but he's a really good athlete. So be patient, wait, and just be there for the dude. Like if he won't, y'all love, like, love on the dude. Like don't push him off. And all right, so when's the next fight? All right, cool. We got to fight next week. Let's move forward with that. But like, don't do this dude wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
So we have obviously Yordenis Ugas steps in. So now it's a fight for Pacquiao's title that Ugas has.
Oh no.
Hey, don't ask me.
Nevertheless, but so we can kind of.
Hey, you could put like a little. You could do like the little.
You're like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then like connect the line.
It's like a family tree.
Yeah. So good way I think to jump into this. We had another question that kind of ties in. So Silo mixing and mastering. Can Shawn rate Ugas' power compared to other guys he's fought? Brooke, Thurman, Danny, Errol. And is it enough to threaten to knock out Manny potentially?
I consider Ugas to have a lot of strength. I didn't really consider him to have power. There have been guys who've hit me on the arms and the shoulders. Of course, there have clearly been guys who've hit me and you can see the effects in the moment.
In the mouth.
But he didn't really strike me as the guy even with like that really had the significant type of power that you would consider when you're talking about Errol Spence Jr., you talking about Keith Thurman. However, I do think that he has, if he uses it correctly, enough strength and physicality to force Manny into some corners and into some situations that he doesn't want to be in. It has to happen for Ugas. It has to happen in the later half of the fight. I'm talking maybe even rounds 8 through 12, where he can impose his will on Manny and make it a really
Hey, Shawn,
fight.
do you feel like he has to dictate the pace, Ugas, if you think he's gonna win?
That's not gonna happen because Manny's going to dictate the pace, but he's got to find moments where he takes control.
Is that potentially to go off what Ant said? So the fight that you have with Ugas, the issue from Ugas' side is he doesn't dictate the pace well. He needs the counter punch. He's not somebody that can. His footwork's not great.
Yeah.
He can't really do it. Does it benefit him? Because I don't think Manny Pacquiao is going to go in there and fight on the outside. Like, Manny Pacquiao is going to be Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Does that maybe even benefit Ugas? Because he can counterpunch at that point rather than having to be the guy that's leading? I think, let me preface, I think Pacquiao wins
but we
comfortably.
different scenario.
But hypothetically, does that benefit Yordenis in any way?
It does.
Okay.
Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because down the line, I might have the opportunity.
That's fine.
So,
Yeah.
No, it benefits Ugas to try to counterpunch, but it also benefits Ugas to get some respect from Manny, which is not hard to do because Manny respects every man he gets in the ring with. And I think that Manny watches enough film. I think that Freddie watches enough film. The whole team does. If Manny feels something, he's gonna immediately respect it, and they're gonna make some adjustments and do some things differently. So I think it's a combination of Ugas counterpunching Manny, but also being physical without getting hit by Manny.
How for somebody, because in fairness, Errol and Manny was going to be, that's a great fight. That's
a great fight.
That's top versus top. Not to disrespect Ugas.
Yeah.
For somebody that right now is kind of like, man, I'm out. I want a refund on my tickets. I'm not going to buy the pay-per-view. What sells them? How do you sell
Hey, you
them
sell
on
this
this
fight to him. You make them want to come.
Especially because you're working the fight also.
Yeah.
So, get you a little on the back end.
This is what I would say. I would say that Manny's going to do Manny. Manny is not, Manny's going to come in there. He's going to fight boxing combination. He's going to try to set up Ugas with the straight left, and he's going to basically fight in spurts. That's what Manny does now. He fights in spurts. It's up to Ugas and his team to find those moments that Manny wants to take control. Take that away from Manny. Meanwhile, still trying to engage and impose his will on Manny. I think that this fight is going to become interesting after 6 rounds. The difference, I won't speak on Errol Spence. I think after 6 rounds, I think that Manny's going to slow down. I think that Manny's going to try to find more spurts and smaller spurts and moments to steal rounds. And I think that as long as Ugas is there, has gotten some respect from Manny, I think it becomes a really good fight after 6.
Do you think it's also, I don't want to downplay the fight in general, but is it also a chance to see Manny Pacquiao?
I think that's the real.
Is that like kind of the selling point? Like, it's one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you get to see that guy.
I
fight.
thought that would sell the tickets was the fact that Manny's getting in the ring. You don't know how many more times this legend is going to get in the ring.
Yeah.
So I thought that might sell the tickets as well. But if we just talking about selling tickets, like, you got to understand that Ugas is durable. Ugas is strong. Ugas really doesn't wear down through the course of 12 rounds. And he's going to be there to be hit. So
Manny may stop.
How big of a statement is it if Manny stops him?
How big of a statement is that?
42 years old.
It's a big statement.
Yeah.
It's a big
Yeah,
statement.
Ugas is a
He's
top
a world
5
champ.
welterweight.
If Ugas,
because
world
even though
champion.
but even though Ugas is a replacement fight for Errol Spence, don't forget that Ugas was on this card.
Yeah.
So Ugas is in shape. Ugas is he's gonna from a game planning standpoint, some things have changed. But in terms of his preparation, in terms of his peak week and all that kind of stuff, he's right on line to fight.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is not, aside from game planning, this is prime Ugas.
And he's probably set for life now because of this fight.
Yeah.
Like, the goal is accomplished coming from Cuba. This fight.
And if nothing else, as far as the stoppage, if nothing else, Ugas is sturdy.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, he might not have punching power.
Yeah.
But he's probably one of the physically stronger welterweights just because he's a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think if anything, like if Pacquiao can if you can handle him and knock him out, That's a serious.
I believe he's
statement.
been stopped before.
Ugas?
Maybe we could bring it up, but
He has.
yeah,
He's been stopped and he's been put down. When I was watching film of him,
Thomas DeLorme?
I was like,
DeLorme?
no, Thomas put him down. But when
was
I
it
was
Jamal
watching
James?
Jamal
too?
James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamal James, I think put him down. If not, stopped him. I think he put him down.
I don't think people believe it, but my dad actually changed the game plan when we were going out to the ring, and my dad says
Has he ever been stopped?
No, he's been
I've
stopped.
been dropped.
Decision,
I don't know about
no,
stopped.
he never was
think
stopped.
He had a loss.
Shout out to Hafey.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just know he's been stopped. I mean,
dropped
dropped.
down. Yeah.
Dropped.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why I was happy to check. Nope, Ugas. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Put some respect on his name. Never been stopped.
That's on you.
It is.
Never lost.
I jumped on it though.
I'm
Didn't
just
I?
speaking.
No, he's lost.
Oh,
He's lost.
my bad.
But when he gets dropped,
Wow.
it's early in the fight. That
Right.
was my point. When he gets dropped, it's early in the fight, and somebody like Manny needs that. If Manny touches him early and drops him early, I think Manny will keep going. It's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah, and I don't think Manny. I'm not sure it's possible to have a boring Pacquiao fight.
Just about to say that.
So it's just like, if
Yeah.
anything, it's going to be exciting from at least, not that Ugas isn't an exciting fighter. I think he really is a good fighter.
Yeah.
Like, he's not great, in my opinion, but he's good, really good. So, if anything.
Are there any questions on there asking where Ron Ortiz is? Because I had a feeling.
No. They caught it.
like,
They love asking
Meta?
you stuff.
Yeah.
No, they want to ask you stuff.
So we got another one, Dark Side. Shout out to the 4 Kings of Podcasts.
We got 10 minutes, so let's just go through
brother.
questions.
So, what was something that surprised you most when you sparred Manny? Other than him giving you his shoes.
I think how fast Manny was. That was really surprising.
Hand speed or feet?
The whole 9. I mean, Manny is fast, especially when I sparred Manny. When I sparred Manny, keep in mind it was 2010, and then I think it was again in 2011.
In his prime.
He was very fast. I mean, he was on you. And that's what I said about this fight with Errol Spence Jr. Like, I had time to make adjustments. You see, Keith got dropped in the very first round, and then it took some rounds for Keith to really start to get comfortable and find his place.
Yeah.
And through that fight, and then
That was
I felt
surprising.
and I felt like Manny took his foot off the gas pedal as well. So back in the day, I had moments. You know, I mean, we sparred, and I had chances to make adjustments and figure things out. And once I did very well against Manny. But I always kept that in mind. Like, I had an opportunity to spar with this dude and learn what was going on and how to adjust to it. Too many people get that opportunity to make adjustments.
You got to adjust on the fly when he's trying to really hurt you.
Yeah, exactly.
Was he the fastest
and
guy?
I don't think that he tries to hurt anymore the way that he used to. You know, not to say he was trying to hurt me in sparring, but he used to like go to the ring with this different type of mindset. I think it's just a little different for him now. I don't know what it is, but it's just a little different. He's one of the fastest because nobody really fights like him. Nobody really fights like me. You know what I mean? So when you're up against a guy who shuffles his feet and, you know, gets here and there really quickly, a lot like I do and did, I was really surprised at that. So that was definitely something that helped me improve.
Hey, I would love to see y'all fight because I think y'all would move and then probably just smile at each other like,
It's like Sonic and Knuckles. I feel like they're both just going.
Both move like, okay.
Thank you. Give me some love. Who's Knuckles?
He is. He's the one with the red. He's the red one. He's got the hair going back.
That's Knuckles.
And Idris Elba's playing him in the new Sonic movie, allegedly.
Really?
He tweeted about it, but
Okay.
it got my ear to the Sonic
I dig
streets.
that.
But
the Sonic streets.
So another question
Your
was,
Knuckles, I think.
Yeah, he's Knuckles in
yeah.
this case. Okay. I mean, Sonic is Sonic. Pacquiao is Pacquiao. I mean,
Can't argue with that.
DSV
Knuckles was fly though.
Anyway, when you talk about the greatest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should getting KO diminish a fighter's legacy besides heavyweights?
I don't think that. I think that your overall body of work, and your overall kind of contribution to the sport is what solidifies your legacy. And so, I kind of feel like that's, if anything, could be a jab at Manny. I know that Manny's been stopped, is what it is, but I think that even around that, you consider after getting stopped what he did. Like, he came back and still was great. You know what I mean? So I don't think that getting stopped really.
That's one of the most devastating
it is
knockout.
It
Not
is.
only the punch, but then just when you look at a visual of him, he was laid out.
I think it's the knockout of the millennium.
I mean, when you Photoshop him onto the couch like Ricky from Boys in the Hood, that's not a good thing. Like that, when they can Photoshop you as Ricky, that's not good.
Oh yeah.
But
man, the way that Javante folded
Leo.
Santa Cruz like a picnic table. I don't know about that.
See, I go Pacquiao just because I think the moment and the punch was so perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Like if somebody, when I talked about like my Mona Lisa being Lara, when you talk about the timing of a punch, that's the one.
Yeah.
Coming in, poof, and it was done.
And I was at that fight, and that's
Did
the
you
best.
gasp? I feel like that's do you gasp there?
Yeah,
Is that like a
for sure. I could believe it.
It was amazing, you know.
Couldn't believe it.
I think it's the moment of the millennium. I think it's the biggest moment, the biggest knockout. It was the best 4 fights. I mean, well, they win just by having 4 fights.
Right.
And, you know, they went beyond the trilogy.
Right.
No, that was I think that still adds to his greatness in a way. You know, it was
that he came back from it.
Yeah, and
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it doesn't nullify any of the great things they do. Diminish? No. I mean, if I'm 50-0 and you're 50, or if I'm 50-0 and you're 50-1, we beat the same 50 opponents. Yeah, you're gonna win out.
Sure.
But I mean, no, it doesn't nullify anything he did. That'd be like, you know, Jordan getting knocked out and swept in the first round all those times nullifies the 6 titles.
You got beat by the
That's
Magic,
right.
but it's fine.
Much different from the guy who's 25 and has been knocked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's at 25 fights and been knocked out.
Right.
And Manny's had almost 60 fights, I believe. And
71, I think,
Oh,
or
shoot.
something like
Yeah,
that.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So one fight that was kind of mentioned right here in the chat, which for some reason always got mentioned as like a potential fight. Shawn Porter in his prime, Marcos Maidana in his prime.
Oh yeah.
First off, how do you think that fight goes, and how much fun would you have had?
Who you think wins that?
Shawn Porter.
We wanted that fight back in the day. We actually thought that we were going to get it
Yeah.
after he beat Adrian Bronner. Never happened, but I think we would have figured some things out. I think that I've shown you guys enough now for you to really like buy into the fact that we would have done some things differently. But I think that fight would have been so that like you see me doing different things now. I think that kind of would have been the first fight where you would have saw me do, you know, a lot more boxing and movement and things like that because it was required against
If it would have been the Ugas performance, I would have booed. But that would have been a fun fight.
Yeah.
I'm always happy when a guy can, like you kind of mentioned with Ugas, where he gets his money and he's kind of set. I'm happy Maidana got that.
Yeah.
Because he always seemed just like a solid guy.
Yeah.
But I wish we would have had more.
Yeah.
Like, think of some of the guys we could have seen Maidana in as they're coming up. Like,
Yeah.
you could have seen Maidana in there with you, with Keith.
Hey, you give me 2 Floyd fights.
Imagine if he's
I'm
in
out,
there.
baby.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Plus
I never blame
Plus, my
somebody for
money's
that.
worth more in Argentina.
Imagine,
Yeah, I
imagine
would
a
think
guy
so,
like
yeah.
so when we're sitting here bantering about these ideas of, hey, you know, who do you want to see this young guy in? Imagine if we're like a Vergil Ortiz versus Marcos Maidana, or Boots Ennis versus Marcos Maidana, like, because he wouldn't have just been a gatekeeper. He would have been a gatekeeper. That overhand right could have flattened you at any moment. So I think, it would have been.
I had a feeling he was going to retire after the second Floyd fight because it's not just that he made a lot of money. It was that style that you fight in. It's like one of his fights.
There's a limited shelf life.
Yeah, one of his fights or 10 or 15 fights for a guy with another style. So,
Yeah. And then we have a question here, Mr. Buddha coming back. So
Buddha.
in their primes, Ali versus Roy Jones Jr., Floyd versus Sugar Ray Leonard, Foreman versus Tyson.
Golly.
Anyone want to pick any of those?
Yeah,
I'm going Floyd every time.
so
He was only involved in one of those fights.
so Ali Jones, because he's a heavyweight,
That would have
and
been amazing.
Roy's a
though.
light heavyweight.
Goodness.
Oh, that would have been fun to watch.
Well, you know, he moved up eventually.
I mean, the Roy that fought John Ruiz, I'm
Yeah,
definitely
that's-
taking Ali.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
he's-
yeah.
And then
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Floyd versus Sugar Ray.
I'm taking Ray Leonard for another kind of a similar reason. I think, you know, Floyd started at 130 and Ray Leonard knocked out Donnie Lalonde, who was a light heavyweight. So I think Floyd would have been ahead on the cards. And then at some point, Leonard
catches him.
in the middle of the fight with those explosions he was known for would have stopped Floyd.
I go Floyd. I go Floyd there.
I'm gonna have you jump by the money team.
Hey, I'm not. It's
You have that kind of pull in there?
Yeah, I
It's kind
do.
of not fair to Floyd because you talk about a natural welterweight against a natural lightweight. But
I'm going to go Ray. Even though they're both different, I'm going to just go Ray.
I'm gonna go
And that-
Floyd.
I'm gonna go Floyd.
You know,
as well.
y'all know I hate picking. So.
How about Foreman Tyson? I think Foreman.
I'm going Tyson. But I don't know.
When you mentioned earlier about somebody going to sleep, that fight is not even making it close to the distance.
Because even old Foreman still had it.
Old Foreman.
He had old man strength.
Golly, see, that's the crazy thing when we talk about these matchups. Is like when you take yourself there. Oh Lord.
Foreman against Foreman that knocked out Frazier and fought Ali against Tyson that was in the lady. I'll take Tyson. I think he was shorter puncher.
I'm taking Foreman, man. Sure. That's great though.
If Tyson can't get him out of there in 4 or 5 or 6, then I think Foreman could get to him. But I'll take Tyson.
Foreman might have one of the craziest. I'm not even sure, not career arc, but like to see where he was and then see where he not ended up because he ended up
right.
But when he kind of came back, when it was revitalized,
right,
like that's just he was a strong punching, heavy punching dude from beginning to end. And then who was it that I want to say, was it Ernie Shavers? They said somebody said once that he hit him so hard you could feel like he felt his ancestors in the arch. I said something about the feeling in the arch of his foot, and I was like, I don't ever want to feel anything that hurts like that.
Well, I never forget George Foreman. You punch hard when you. He punched so hard. He was talking about it, and he goes, and you really didn't want to fight me because, I hit you and your bones rattle and you feel it to you, and you could really get physically hurt. Yeah. And I said, man, you're bad when you punch so hard. Your
bones rattle.
You're like, young man.
You know it. If
you punch so hard, you're concerned for somebody else's well-being. Like you really don't want to.
I don't know. I think I'll fight him before I fight a dude that say he'll take my manhood and eat my kids.
Eating kids is that's a whole.
Like, you gonna say that to my face? And think I'm like that's crazy.
And Foreman had that great jab once he got older.
Yeah, and sell you a hell of a grill on the side.
Oh yeah,
might knock you out, and then say, hey,
might cook you breakfast.
Yeah, cook you up a little lean burger on there.
And despite the Ali knockout, one of the greatest chins ever. Yeah. That combination he took from Holyfield. Yeah. So
you could hit that dude with a crowbar at times, and he was still coming forward. But a lot of people obviously, and no, there's not gonna be really a conversation about Bud. But.
Oh yeah, because I was thinking about that.
Okay, here we go.
Well, but here's the thing, and y'all ain't. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You said, hey man, it's gonna be a lot of what you just said, and I said, here's the thing, like, out of all the fights that I've had, and I was like, I try to count, like, all right, maybe we'll go with a dozen mainstream fights, just to be safe. But I don't know if there's more. But you've never seen any of my negotiations. Yeah. You've never heard me talk about a fight or fighter until the fight was made. Then we do press conferences and all that kind of stuff.
Thurman. I remember
you talking about when
there was build up before that fight was signed and stuff. Right?
That was because Keith had a car accident allegedly.
Yeah, I don't think prior to it actually being signed and all that kind of stuff, you've never seen any negotiations from about my fights.
Yeah.
So forget me coming out saying that I'm not any of those other fighters, and I don't do what any of those other fighters do. So if you want to come to me, any reporter coming to me, they already know.
Yeah.
No reporter has come to me and asked me anything because they know I don't talk. I don't get down like that.
And Eddie Hearn's not promoting at this point. So he's not going to comment on negotiations. But
it's going to get made, man. Yeah. Look, listen, WBO said what they said.
And that's my thing. When anybody questions it or asks about it, it's like Shawn has said numerous times on this podcast, I want to fight Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford has never been like, I really don't want to fight that guy. He always takes great fights.
Hey, listen, ain't
the
no
WBA
around here.
Yeah, the WBA ordered it, so it's not
WBO.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
WBO.
Hey,
WBA is always on your mind.
Hey, as a part of Team Porter, we fear nobody. Yeah. Okay,
I fear a lot of people.
No, you don't. You don't fear nobody.
Case, nah, but but I'm just like, so fighter A, fighter B, you and Bud, neither of you guys fear each other. The WBO orders the fight.
Yeah.
So people are like, people, there's quiet. There's no reason it shouldn't happen. There's no reason it won't happen, in my opinion. But
I don't understand why people say when people get to a certain level, they scared. I've been doing this for 10 plus years. What am I scared of?
I ignore that, but like hearing you, like it doesn't make sense.
What am I scared of?
It doesn't make sense
at all.
Yeah. I said, because it happened with me and Keith. I know we gotta go soon, but it happened with me and Keith. I said, eventually the fight's gonna get made. When it gets made, it's on. And when it was made, it was on. After Errol Spence, I was in England And I've been saying before he won it, I said, as soon as he gets a title, then when the fights get made, it gets made. Was never afraid or worried. You know, do I look worried?
That was
and
classic.
So with
All
that
the
being
time.
said, do I look worried?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing but smiles over here, baby.
And it's all I understand because we are all boxing fans. So I understand wanting to see fights and fantasy matchup in that. So I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like negotiations happen.
Yeah.
And they happen behind closed doors.
Yeah.
There's not a time where you're gonna sit down with Bud at this table and be like, all right, so you'll get this, I'll get this. This is done way above that. You guys are the fighters. It happens.
To defend y'all, I think that everybody wants to know that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that as long as they're seeing the footprints of it happening, they feel comfortable. And when they don't hear me saying nothing or they don't see it, it is what it is. Just relax. Just relax. We good.
All of a sudden, you're going to see a graphic pop up that says
100% what's going to happen. And I'm going to see it too.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be the last to know.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, another live show in the books for us.
Yeah, man, we need to do this.
Hot as a mofo in here.
Yeah.
Feels like we're outside in Vegas.
I feel like I'm back in Africa.
One thing we kind of touched on this. A couple of people in the comments were saying they might be coming.
Hey man, we gotta go.
I know they might be coming to town for the fight. We mentioned initially an idea.
Yeah.
We maybe have something Friday afternoon after a weigh-in. Maybe stay tuned to social media.
Stay tuned to social media because it will be Friday after.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hot.
Yeah,
gonna suck it up.
Maybe not something outside, but something. We'll figure something out.
Hey, listen, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna let you know
at the Porterway Pod.
At the Porterway Pod. Yeah. Apparently that's
Twitter, Instagram.
Twitter and Instagram's the Porterway Pod. And we gotta go. God bless y'all.
And get your ultimate sack. Get your ultimate sack. I don't know why I moved away from the mic.
TPW sack 15% off.
Hey, I feel
What's up? I'm Showtime Shawn Porter.
I'm Ed. Follow me on IG, Ed with 2 T's.
This is the Porterway Podcast. This is Anthony Brunel, and this is Carson A. Merck. Tell them what to do.
Hey, like, subscribe, comment, follow us on all social media platforms.
Subscribe.
I'm from Louisiana. I'll talk with a B. Let's do it. Let's do it again.
All right. Just introduce yourself.
Okay.
And then tell them, and then you tell them what to do.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Porterway Podcast.
You're already here.
Hey, this is our outro. We're gonna do it how we want to.
I'm Showtime Shawn Porter.
I'm Anthony Brendall.
Carson A. Merck. Like, subscribe, comment.
This is the Porterway.